this screencast, we're going to learn to name some derivatives of benzene. Now, many common names exist with benzene molecules, the first of which is toluene with a methyl group on benzene. Phenol for this alcohol, and that OL helps me remember that there is an alcohol group on benzene, is a common one. Ethylbenzene is really just a name for the group on benzene. But cumene has an isopropyl group on benzene. Styrene, I use the ENE to help me remember that there is an ethene group on benzene. Aniline, I use the INE to help me remember that there's an amine, that nitrogen on benzene. Benzaldehyde is simply an aldehyde functional group. That's C double bond O and then the H on the benzene ring. Benzoic acid similarly has a carboxylic acid. So you have to recognize that COOH means there's a C double bonded O and then that OH or that carboxylic acid on the benzene ring. Anisole just has an O and then a methyl group on benzene, giving it an ether group essentially. So of all these, toluene is probably one of the more common ones. So phenol, styrene's pretty common. And even aniline comes up a lot. If you know your aldehyde and carboxylic acid functional groups, you should be able to remember benzaldehyde and benzoic acid using those. So you might want to name just the benzene ring as a group coming off of something else, some other R. But that is actually going to be called the phenyl group. And what's kind of confusing is there is a benzyl group, but that's actually benzene and then another carbon, then connected to some R group. That actually gets the term benzyl group. So here, just the benzene ring is going to be the phenyl group, so we'll have phenyl bromide. Again, we could do the benzene ring as a phenyl group on this 3-carbon alkyne. So our alkyne that's 3 carbons is going to be propyne. The triple bond gets priority, so that's at carbon 1. And then our benzene ring is at carbon 3, but just a benzene ring will be 3 phenyl. And then 1 propyne, 1 for the location of the triple bond. Now over here, if we wanted a chloride ending, we could include this carbon as part of the group and say, okay, if we included that carbon and the benzene ring, that's a benzyl group. And so we can call this benzyl chloride. Same thing here, we can call this a benzyl group and call it benzyl alcohol. So what's interesting here is that benzyl for a name is actually a group that's got a benzene ring and another carbon on it. And that just the benzene ring alone is a phenyl group. So we might run across a lot of disubstituted benzenes where there's 2 groups on the benzene ring. We can number them like 1, 2, or they're sometimes given names. Like the 1, 2 is sometimes called O or ortho, the 1, 3, M or meta, and the 1, 4, P or para. So if we have an R group here, the second position is ortho, the third is meta, and the fourth is para. I remember this by thinking of the Oompa Loompas from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and their name is spelled with 2 O's, but the middle of it is OMP, and so that helps me remember the order of ortho, meta, and then para with the Oompa Loompas. So we could still use those special names that we learned. For example, the benzene ring in a methyl group is called toluene. So we could number these, and since the toluene has that special name, it gets the 1. 2, 3, 4. We could call it 4-bromotoluene. And that would be fine. But oftentimes, at the 1,4, it's called para or p-bromotoluene for short. So para or p-bromotoluene is used a lot. Here we study and we look for a special group. And again, we have a special group here called aniline. So we can number, and we'd have 3-chloro. But at the 1,3, this is ortho. Nope, meta. So we'll have M-chloroaniline. M-chloroaniline. And we can look for a special name here. And we've got our carboxylic acid, so we actually got benzoic acid. So the benzoic acid carbon has to get the 1. So we'll have 2-nitrobenzoic acid, or at the second position, O-nitrobenzoic acid. O-nitrobenzoic acid. Now, sometimes you'll have 3 or more substituents coming up the ring, and you can't use ortho or meta or para in that case. When there's 3 or more groups, you just have to number them. You can still use special names though, and we'll always number it to give the smallest set of numbers, and we'll always list alphabetically. So we can still look for our special name here, toluene. That's got to be the 1 carbon. So at the 2, we'll have our nitro group, and then a 4-chloro. And then we'll alphabetize those. We'll put the chloro first. 4-chloro, 2-nitrotoluene. Now we'll look for a special name here. And we've actually got one. We've got a phenol. Notice how this isn't phenyl. Remember, phenyl was the name for just benzene as a group. Phenyl was our name for this. With a YL. Here's phenol, the alcohol. So we have to try to keep those straight now that we've learned them both. The phenol gets the 1. So we're going to have bromines at 2 and 4 and 6. So 2, 4, 6, tri-bromo phenol. All right, and then in our last molecule, we don't really have a group imparting a special name. We've got an iodo here, chloro, bromo, and fluoro. We might see 2 different ways of numbering this. We have to do a 1, 2, 3, and then a 5 for bromo. But the question really is, do we go clockwise? Or we could try out counterclockwise. So either way, it looks like bromo is going to be 5, iodo is going to be 2. So then the question is really, what gets the 1? Does the chloro get the 1, or does the fluoro get the 1? And since chloro is first alphabetically, let's go with the counterclockwise blue. Let's go with 1 chloro and 3 fluoro, because chloro comes before fluoro alphabetically. And that was tied before we used that alphabetizing to break that tie. So then let's put these in alphabetical order. Bromo will come first. Chloro, 3 fluoro, and then 2 iodo. Benzene. So hopefully now you will feel more confident in naming a variety of different benzene-containing molecules.